watched a very interesting video from a group of students tackling all about eugenics. And I personally think that this video is worth sharing with you guys. So without further ado, let's just hop onto the video.
The term eugenics was first coined in the year 1883 by Sir Francis Galton, a respected scholar and cousin of Charles Darwin, which means well-born. He believed that we humans are capable of directing our future through selective breeding of individuals who have desirable traits. It was in the 19th century when the eugenics movement began in the United States. Funds were raised for eugenical studies, which eventually led to the formation of the Eugenics Records Office, or ERO. ERO devoted time to trace family histories and concluded that majority of the undesirable traits, such as pauperism or the state of being poor, were genetically passed on and not due to lack of resources. According to ERO, the said traits mostly came from families that were poor, low in social standing, immigrant, and/or minority. Due to the increasing number of unfits in the U.S. population, stricter immigration rules were implemented, but the most sinister solution was to sterilize the unfit individuals to prevent them from passing on the negative traits to the next generation. During the 20th century, a total of 33 states had sterilization programs in place. At first, their only targets were mentally ill people, but later on, the traits deemed serious enough to authorize sterilization even to individuals who were alcoholic, criminals, blind, deaf, feeble-minded, and promiscuous. Individuals, mostly African American women, were sterilized without consent. Eugenics in the U.S. eventually lost support over time and was declining by the start of World War II. When the savagery of the Nazi Germany became evident, as well as how Hitler utilized the principles of eugenics to vindicate his cruelty, eugenics lost all credibility as a field of study or even an ideal that should be pursued.
Philosophers have divided eugenics into two: the liberal eugenics, which is based on individuals' free choice, two different values, and an up-to-date understanding of scientific genetics and epigenetics. Furthermore, eugenics advocates and aims to be sensitive on problematic social problems such as racism, sexism, heterosexism. Authoritative eugenics were powerful state programs to promote social goods and based on hereditary problematic assumptions. A serious philosophical understanding about eugenics is that it was revealed to be natural, outgrown non-theistic religion, antagonistic to traditional religion enlightenment. Even biologists and cyberneticists claimed and says that eugenics is something possible to avoid and was said that artificial intelligence succeeded and displaced mere human intelligence. Recognizing the goal of eugenics, which is to improve the quality of genes and to produce a good set of offspring by artificial augmentation, led to transhumanism movement. Transhumanism focuses on the material gifts that humans have, such as strength, speed, agility, and intelligence. They assume that based on eugenics, the fundamental goals of human is material. However, eugenics can also relate to a spiritual cast as form of Gnosticism. This is a fundamental of Nietzsche and was called the will to power. And to be able to understand this, he claimed for two things. The eugenics movement and similar movements can be seen as an self-centered phenomena. That is, the will to power is not primarily a will to personal power. And second, the will to power is superseded in Christianity by what may be called the will to communion.
In eugenics, the main goal is to improve the human race through changing the genetic makeup of the human person, or what they call a selective breeding. During the process, the ones with the desirable trait will have the privilege to reproduce, while the ones who are unfit in the society will be excluded or eliminated. But what is really the standards or the basis that determines a genetically fit person? Is it morally correct to impose selective breeding? How can the public have the assurance that the highest ethical precaution will be taken into consideration? Is it ethically correct to sacrifice the inferior people to improve the quality of the human race? According to an article, even before eugenics became known to many, there have been scientists, civil rights advocates, and mental health professionals who are already against this practice. They see it as a form of racism against the non-white races, lower-class citizens, and the mentally ill persons. The eugenic movement was felt by many when it was adopted by the Nazis, where they authorized a program to conduct compulsory sterilization for those with hereditary illnesses, restricted marriages by requiring a government certification for genetic viability, and the worst of all, allowing the euthanasia program, which killed nearly 100,000 patients over the span of 2 years. In conclusion, eugenics' purpose, which is to strengthen the human race, may be ethically correct, but the process of eliminating people, whether fit or unfit, to attain this purpose may have been unethical. A lot of moral and ethical values must be taken into consideration before adopting this kind of practice, because people's lives are at stake. As stated from the previous lessons, the protection of our well-being and the upholding of our dignity must be at the core of continued progress and development.